guys very much. Wow. This is very exciting. Welcome to Just for Laughs, all access. Thanks for being on time. You're on time, I'm on time, we're on time people. Round of applause. I think there's a big difference between late people and on time people. Round of applause if you're a late person, typically. What late people don't understand about us on time people is that we hate you. And the reason we hate you is it's so easy to be on time. You just have to be early. And early lasts for hours, and on time just lasts a second. And then you're late forever. Late people always try to rebrand. Late, they'll say, I'm fashionably late, which is like saying I'm stylishly racist. Which is another thing about late people. A lot of them are racist. And the reason these late racists drive me crazy is that they're often so good looking. You ever get ready for something with a late person? They look into their closet like it's Narnia. Like it's an infinite well of possibilities. On-time people are just like, this is what I look like. Sorry about that. The reason I know so much about late people is I was raised by two of them. My parents are ladies, and when I was a kid, my mom used to pick me up from my swim class at the YMCA 90 minutes after the class. I know, she was like the cable company. Like, I will pick you up between the hours of 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. I was a 10-year-old child just standing on a street corner, dripping wet bathing suit and flip-flops. My mom wasn't on the way. She was at the book club talking about the color purple. I was like, Mom, I am the color purple. One year we went on a family vacation. We left for the airport 45 minutes before our flight took off. We lived 45 minutes away from the airport. My dad shouted at the security guard like it was his fault. This is the 80s when airport security consisted of a high five and a pat in the ass. It was a different time for late people. It was the golden age. And then I married a late person. My wife is a lady, and it's an issue. This week we were heading to yoga, which is why I look excellent and feel excellent. I yearn for the day that doesn't get a laugh. And my wife says to me, she goes, wait for me, I'm not ready yet, which is silly because you don't have to be ready for yoga because all it is trying not to fart while stretching, which is my life already without the stretching. And clearly, I don't belong in yoga. It wasn't designed for male humans. You can tell when the instructor says, I want you to reach your hand back towards your bra strap and then lift up your leg unless you're on your period. I'm like, I'm pretty sure none of that applies to me. I've only had my period once. I'm not even sure that's what that was. The instructor feels so bad for me in class, she'll just make up poses. She'll be like, everybody get into the dolphin, and then Mike, we're gonna have you in a gentle turtle, and we'll have you in a sleeping hippopotamus, and then you can just head home. We're not gonna need you anymore. We'll get you the DVD. So my wife says, wait for me, I'm not ready. And I held my ground. I go, I'm not gonna wait for you because you're a late person, I'm an on-time person. I don't want that getting involved with our marriage because I feel like it's going really well so far. And she goes, fine, passive-aggressive, classic for late people. And then she says, save a mat next to your mat for me in class. I said, Chloe, her name's Jen. I go, Chloe, I'm not gonna do that because I have more allegiance to my fellow on-time people than I do to you, my own wife. And that didn't go well. And so I get to class and I feel guilty. I put down my mat, and then I put down a mat next to my mat for my wife. And this woman comes up, she goes, do you mind if I put my mat right here? And I was like, no, actually, my wife is gonna... Sometimes I'm so polite, I don't even finish sentences. And this other woman was like, I was like, we were like deferent whales, which is another pose I'm working on. Class fills up, 100% full, wall-to-wall sluts. except for the empty mat next to my mat, because my wife decided arbitrarily she just wasn't gonna come to class that day. I know, the ultimate late person move. Absence. Class ends, empty mat, all the people can assume is my wife is dead. Or that I've invented the fictional concept of having a wife so I can have a double-wide super mat. The most selfish possible move in the most socialist of exercises. And this woman comes up to me, she goes, I hope your wife is okay. Which is the yoga way of saying, we hate you. But that's just my side of the story. If my wife were here tonight, she'd be like, yeah, but you're not telling them. And I'd be like, excuse me, ma'am, there's a show going on. She'd be escorted out of the building. I've done it before, I'll do it again. That's what I love about jokes. They're just your side of the story. They're your opinion, which isn't to say they're always just opinions. Sometimes they're an externalization of your inner thoughts, and often your inner thoughts are inappropriate. I was at my urologist recently. Just chilling. No, I had a symptom. Don't repeat this. I had a thing where, this is embarrassing. When my wife and I would have sex, I would have like a pins and needles sensation in my urethra the moment I would ejaculate, which at first was exciting. At first I thought, oh, maybe this is a new type of orgasm. Maybe I've broken through, but then the pain didn't go away. And I was like, oh no. It's like when you're eating spicy food and you're like, that's hot, that's hot, that's too hot. But it was with my penis, which is much higher stakes than your tongue, which is your mouth penis, in a way. Nobody says that, I just did, and you can if you want. But I mentioned this to my doctor, not in these words, and he's unfazed by it. He goes, it's not a big deal. It's probably just a muscular thing. You're just trying too hard when you have sex. And I said, you're telling me. But I didn't say that. I just thought it. I was just like, you know, and because I don't say a lot of jokes off stage. I just think them. You know, I was like, and he was like, is there something wrong with your head? And I go, no, I'm a comedian. And he goes, you're a comedian? I go, you're a doctor? But I didn't say it, I just thought it. And, but he didn't believe me, because if you're a comedian, how come you're not funny now? What I wanted to say was, I'm gonna take this conversation we're having, and then repeat that to strangers. And then that's the joke. You're the joke later.